birthday the same day.
Yeah.
Oh, you down on Monday?
Yeah, I tried to make it. Like, you keep sick, so I you see my side of it.
What's the other one?
Anytime you what hours on that TV? You know, what hours Friday? 12 to 8? Friday? Yeah, I'm gonna. They don't close down? Oh, okay, then they do it. This is WBC. Okay, we'll wait on it. I mean, that well, we don't do it then. We don't make it a short order. Huh? No, but I'm just saying, you know, we can do that. We don't start about 10 minutes. Right. Right. I'm so sorry I didn't call you earlier. Yeah. Oh, we shall. Thank you so much. Well, definitely, Jim. Good to see you, lady. I said, good to see you. I'll be you now. Put it on our beat.
I used another paper as it was.
I hear you now. Yes, ma'am. I got mine right here. We didn't say he on his way. No, he's not. He said he's not feeling well.
Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Good evening.
Recording in progress.
It is 5:30 and we will begin the special call meeting for this evening with public comments on agenda items. The first person to speak on the agenda item is Ms. Alfreda Martin. Please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for recognizing me. Okay, so to keep this quick and not to get off track or emotional about this, I decided to write down some notes. So if you could just bear with me, it won't take but maybe 5 minutes to go through my notes.
You have 2 minutes, I'm sorry.
Huh?
You have 2 minutes, I'm sorry.
Oh, 2 minutes, okay, I can rush through. Okay, so first thing, my intent is not to belittle or conduct a personal attack against anyone, okay? I want to state that in the zoning department. I had every intention of coming before the city council in the next scheduled meeting to express some concerns that I experienced while dealing with them. A lot of you remember me from before in trying to get established residency. So what I've noticed is a lack of leadership, discipline, direction, and respect and customer service exists in that department. I've spoken with contractors, businesses, and others who have called, who have expressed concerns about some of the employees within that department. I too have expressed that. I too have experienced that. Lack of communication, callback, lack of ownership, failure to perform duties as prescribed, hopefully in their job prescription. So I'm here today to ask that, it's not personal, but I've seen the only way that I was able to get anything accomplished was because of the supposedly incoming leadership within that department, the new leadership. I was able to get something accomplished. And even today, 5 to 6 weeks after paying for a permit, getting an address which was withheld by an employee in that department, don't know why, I still cannot get emergency services, I cannot get mail, I cannot get water, and I cannot get internet services because the employee has failed to perform their duties by taking that address that they assigned to me and merely submitting the information to the county assessor's office and to Mecca. I'm still struggling with that. I haven't gotten any support from the current leadership in an effort to do this, and it was my understanding that based on a meeting that was held with myself, the current leadership, and what I thought was the incoming leadership, that person had basically relinquished their duties to that person. And that's the person that I've been working with, that I've been able to even get a permit and to have electricity at this time. But I still can't move in and establish the residence that I want to call home. I haven't been able to do that because of the other issues that I face.
Okay, thank you so much. And you did take the 3 minutes. Just for everybody else, and that's fine for everyone else. The city attorney has informed me that speakers have 3 minutes since there are less than 6 speakers. Okay.
Less than 6.
Okay. So the next speaker to make public comment on the agenda item is Mr. Danny Walker.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Well, I'm here in support of Miss Mitzi Ruth. The problem is that we have new hotels going up, a lot of infrastructure, different projects that's in place. So if we take away the leadership, somebody who knows zoning from top to bottom, it would be a catastrophe. Years ago, I'm gonna share this story with you. As far as department heads, my mother came to me when she was on the city council, and she was advocating for Miss Mitzi Ruth to get a raise. I stated at that time that I didn't think any other department heads needed a raise. My mother came back and told me that Miss Ruth, that she agreed that some of the department heads were not doing their jobs, but Miss Ruth was doing hers. Since I've been on the planning commission, I have been working with her, and I know that she is qualified and she knows those codes, and inspection front and back. So I ask that you reinstate her.
And then the last speaker who signed up to speak on the agenda items this evening is Mr. Frederick Jackson.
Hello, how you doing today? So I'm here today to piggyback a little bit on the speaker that came up earlier. I'm an investor. I have 3 companies here in the city of Pine Bluff. I have Homes of Choice Management Group, invested over $20 million in the city. We also operate Area-Wide Construction. This is a construction company, licensed in the state of Arkansas. We also have Twin Fountains RV Resort. We have 3 minutes, so I'm gonna make it very brief. I've been to a city council meeting when you all was in the convention center during COVID. I expressed my concerns on things that happened at the RV resort. Due to Misty non-knowledge of things that happens with underground utilities, I ended up in a lawsuit. I paid over between $15,000 to $18,000 in legal fees, and I had to pay the subcontractor for the job, even though the job was completed. After I paid the lawsuit, I had to come back and get another person to finish the job. And the reason why we got stopped is because Mitzi Ruth stated that someone called in to the inspection and zoning and said that the J.R. Fox, which is the same underground utility that did the streetscape at Pine Bluff downtown, that when he came up with the white pipe, which is a sewer pipe for the RV hookups, when he came up with the white pipe, someone called Misty's office and said that they have to be a licensed plumber to bring to start white pipe. That's not true. Blue pipe is in the ground. They only put the white pipe in the ground to come up because you can't bring blue pipe up above the ground. And all he did was just did one connection. He didn't connect to it. Legally, you can do that because there's no pressure in these pipes. I called the city of Pine Bluff several times, inspection zoning, talked to Mitzi Ruth herself, and I kept saying, we're down for 2 months. And the contract, the subs are leaving. They're moving their equipment. What do I need to do to get back working? I don't know. I'm waiting on the state. After the 3rd month, I finally said, who at the state do I need to talk to? She said, well, you need to talk to the health department. I called the health department, and what I didn't understand about this request, we're down 3 months. What I didn't understand about this request is I paid an engineer to get engineer plans based on the city of Pine Bluff policies. It was $30,000. It was stamped by the health department. It was approved. When I called the health department, they said, no, we're not holding you up. We just wanted you to change the faucets. The faucets haven't even been installed. Easy switch. Send them back. Get us some more faucets. When I called back down to the city, I said, the state is saying that they're okay. They're fine. Well, they said something about the sewer. At that time, it was an inspector. His name was Ruther.
Go ahead and wrap it up.
His name was Ruther, and he came and they made us dig up every connection. When we got the connection done, on the 8-1, the state representative, the state inspector drove off, said he was satisfied with what's happening. Mr. Ruther called Misty on the speakerphone and said, hey, the state guy said he's satisfied. Is Mr. Jackson, is he fine to proceed on? She said, no, I want him to dig up all of the connections, but we want to see them all. We stood out there and we dug up another 30 connections. That is just a small thing of what's happened in the city. If I was an investor that was not invested in the city of Pine Bluff, and I'm going to close with this. If I was not invested in, I wouldn't invest in the city of Pine Bluff over $20 million, I would have left. No investor is going to come into this city and go into the inspection and zoning office and get that type of adversity and want to invest in this community.
Thank you. And now, I will call the meeting to order. and invite Reverend James Murray to lead us in the invocation. Please stand.
O Lord, our God, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Our Heavenly Father, we come as humble as we know how. First of all, to just say thank you. You've been good to us, better to us than we've been to ourselves. Now, God, we petition you on the behalf of the citizens of Pine Bluff and the leadership of our city, that you will intercede tonight, that you would search every heart that's making a decision tonight on behalf of this call meeting. We pray that you will give us sound mind and sound advice that we can render a true judgment. We ask it all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Mays,
Here.
Councilmember Holcomb,
Here.
Councilmember Brown, Councilmember Brown, Councilmember Brown, Councilmember Lockett,
Here.
Councilmember Frazier,
Here.
Councilmember Brunson,
Here.
Councilmember Denton,
Here.
Councilmember Fail.
Here.
And now we will move on to the proposed resolution. Councilmember Holcomb.
A resolution to override the mayor's removal and to reinstate a department head, Mitzi Ruth, Director of Inspection and Zoning, pursuant to Arkansas law.
Whereas the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas is a municipality of the first class, organized and operating under the laws of the state of Arkansas. And whereas, pursuant to Arkansas Code Annotated 1442-110, the mayor of a city has the authority to appoint and remove department heads, subject to the right of the city council to override such an action by a 2/3 vote of the total membership of the council. And whereas, on or about January 5th, 2026, the mayor of the city of Pine Bluff removed Mitzi Ruth from the position of Director of Inspection and Zoning. And whereas, the Pine Bluff City Council finds that reinstatement is in the best interest of the city, its residents, and the effective and efficient operation of municipal government. And whereas, the City Council finds that continuity of leadership, institutional knowledge, operational stability, and public confidence warrant the reinstatement of said department heads. And whereas, the Pine Bluff City Council is acting within its lawful authority under Arkansas law to override the mayor's removal decision. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that Section 1, the Pine Bluff City Council hereby overrides the mayor's removal of Mitzi Ruth as Director of Inspection and Zoning pursuant to Arkansas Code Annotated 1442-110. Section 2, Mitzi Ruth is hereby reinstated to the position of Director of Inspection and Zoning, effective immediately upon adoption of this resolution, with all duties, responsibilities, authority, salary, and benefits associated with this position. Section 3, the city clerk is hereby directed to enter this resolution into the official records of the city of Pine Bluff. Section 4, that the mayor, city clerk, finance director, human resources department, and all other appropriate city officials are directed to take any and all administrative actions necessary to fully implement the resolution. Section 5, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and adoption.
Move for adoption.
It's been moved and seconded that item number 1 be adopted. Any discussion? Okay. With no discussion, I will go ahead and make my remarks. So there are a few areas of discussion that I think are important for context. And I think context is necessary given how quickly and without information that this meeting was called. So the first thing that I'll note, which I think is noted in the resolution, is that the appointed positions, which are the positions of the directors and the chief, 17 departments who operate under the leadership of the mayor, work at the pleasure of the mayor by appointment. And while I do believe that it is appropriate for, or certainly legal, for there to be an action, I don't think that it is appropriate if the law has been followed and if there has been nothing done wrong against an appointee. And I think that in this case, no member of the council, except those that I've spoken with at length, would know what has occurred and what led to the termination, because there, number one, is no appeal. So this meeting was called without an appeal, without anything in writing, without any complaint or request on the part of the appointee, and without any documentation or information about what has occurred over the last year, which I think is really important, and I'll get into. The second thing, in terms of the processing, or the process that has taken place, I think it's important to note, since it is the role of the mayor to operate in the day-to-day, every day, versus the legislative role of attending and passing policy twice a month, that this context is important. I would like to let you know that prior to my being even sworn in, prior to even the general election, I was engaged in meetings with the former mayor to get up to speed, to attend meetings, to engage a proper transition. And during those meetings, I was informed by the previous mayor that former Director Ruth would be retiring, that Director Ruth had shared that with her. I hadn't talked to Director Ruth yet. I had been told that she had been considering that for a while. And around August of 2024, Director Ruth and I talked on the phone at length. And in that conversation, she shared with me that she wanted to know my intentions. I told her I was not interested in making any changes quickly, that I was aware that that department was very important to the city, and that the role of the director was important in that there were several certifications that was necessary in order for leadership to efficiently and effectively lead. In that conversation, she shared with me that there were 2 personnel that had left. One was on his way out, and that because he was aware that she was retiring, that he had trepidations about staying with what he thought might be the next director on the part of an existing staff member. And on August 8th at 6:58 p.m., she sent me his phone number so that I could talk to him. She said that he had already made his decision but that I might want to talk to him. I told her that I did. And that began a series of conversations about the direction of the department and what the needs were and how I would be starting out with fewer staff members. So around February, and I can't give you an exact date, I received a call from former Director Ruth, and she asked me when could she retire. At that time, I asked her, please, stay where you are, give me some time so I can find adequate replacement, as I knew she had intended to leave. And I worked to do that. I contacted people I knew. I contacted developers, and my staff member at the time told me that her husband might be able to help since he had a construction background and an engineering background. And I asked, hey, can he send me his resume? I did that and shared that information with former Director Ruth. I sent her his resume. I asked that they connect and meet, that he could talk to her about the role. I shared the job description with him, so I engaged human resources. And I also had a conversation with Councilmember Lockett because I had the idea that perhaps we could formulate a temporary assistant director position so that whomever might be willing to come into that position could get training, could get familiarity with the role, with the staff. And at that time, Councilmember Lockett told me it was a good idea. I presented that. I had that position drawn up. I presented that position in administration along with 2 other positions, maybe 3 at the time, and those positions were not approved. And I was directed, since the council did not want to, I believe Councilmember Holcomb and Councilmember Brown in particular told me, bring it back, bring the positions back when it was budget time, so that I could include the positions in my budget, which I did for all the other positions. But shortly after that, I received a call, I received a call from former Director Ruth, who told me that one of her inspector positions was opening up, and that could be a position that Mr. Holman could enter into. And that is exactly what happened. I did not hire him. Of course, I wanted him to be hired. I made that recommendation. I sent that information. That hire was made by Director Ruth based on the conversations that we had, based on now several months of my awareness that she intended to retire, that I asked her to stay on while we found this person and this person could be adequately trained. In that time, Mr. Holman received several certifications, including one that former Director Ruth does not have. So we hired someone with 14 years as a mechanical engineer, 9 years as a technical team manager, who earned a PhD at Northeastern Illinois University, who has a Master of Business from Northern Illinois University, a Bachelor of Administration from University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, and a Bachelor in Mechanical Engineering Technology from Rock Valley College. So this person was extremely qualified, educated, and experienced for this position. This person also came in and in just a few months earned 6 certifications. From the Arkansas Department of Labor, he earned the licensed plumbing inspector for licensed electrical inspector certifications. He earned his stormwater pollution prevention certification. He earned his commercial electrical inspector certification from ICC. He earned his residential electrical inspector certification. He earned his HVAC residential and commercial certification. And he earned the quality management systems certification from ISO. He completed that probably a couple of months ago and had a couple of conversations, from my understanding, with Director Ruth at some point, who suggested to him, not to me, that she was looking at her anniversary date to retire, which was January 14th. I also learned that she had a conversation with the HR director regarding when she would retire. I had had a conversation with her that summer about what the transition would look like, when we would plan for that transition based on her retirement date. So now we were at the end of the year, and let's see, on December 15th, I asked to visit with former Director Ruth at about 1:30. We sat in my office and talked about what that date would be, since many of the roles of the director had been turned over to now interim director Holman. He was basically doing the job, and from my understanding, she was being very clear that he has it, that you go to him, he can do this. So I felt like it was the appropriate time to revisit the conversation so that I could know, based on the budget, based on some things that from day one I made clear needed to happen in that department. Number one, technology upgrades need to happen. It is 2026, and the ability for people to get communication about what the decisions and directives of our inspection and zoning office does not exist. It happens through phone calls and text messages, and what has happened is when people get notification of something that they need to do, they need to follow up on, it's very easy, because of the non-system that we have, for a change to happen, and then there are complaints. The technology and documentation need to happen. Another thing that I made very clear from day one is cross-training needs to happen. And in that time, none of those things have happened under the direction of former Director Ruth. But I didn't ask or expect for that to happen, because I knew that she had the intent of retiring, working together to bring in her replacement. We were in full communication about that via phone, in passing, and text. If that was not the case, she would not have hired him. She would not have turned over duties to him, and duties including handling complaints duties including handling HR matters, duties including assignments. All of that has happened. Duties including planning the budget. All of those things happened. So this did not come from nowhere. This is not a situation where there was a rumor about a retirement and I'm trying to push Director Ruth out. And what happened on December 15th, I said, I need to plan. You know, I understand that you were thinking about your anniversary date. She told me at that time, no, that has changed. Some things have changed. It will be it will be somewhere around March, is what she said. And she said, and I've talked to Clarence about it, and he's in agreement. I said, okay. We then talked about what follow-up would look like. She said she didn't want a party. We talked about that. And then she told me she would send me a date before December 31st. That didn't happen, and it was no big deal. She came to the celebration that we had for the cabinet and the council members. She came to the party that we had for all of our personnel, where I presented her with a gift for her 46 years of service, and then we all went on vacation. So I didn't think anything about not hearing from her by December 31st. I sent former Director Ruth and Interim Director Holman a text, asked them to come by my office earlier on the 5th. I got held up in a meeting. I texted them later and apologized and asked them if they could just come by before council. I didn't think it would take about half an hour because I'm thinking we're going to have a conversation about transition. They come up to the office. I said, hey, I know you weren't able to, or I didn't hear from you, so I wanted for us to visit about the transition and figure out what the date might be. And without going into all of the details, and I can't give you exact words, but it became very contentious. At one point, she said, you're trying to terminate me. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not here to do that. You're acting like we didn't have a conversation in December and like we have not been working on this together for over a year. And there was no response to that, but it was very curt and frustrating. And then at the point where I was being interrupted and gaslit and told me I said things I didn't say, I was like, listen, are you going to retire as we have discussed and worked on all year or not? She said no, or by February 1st. She asked me what date I had in mind. And I said February 1st. She said, why? And after she finally let me answer, I said, well, when Clarence ascends to the position and then the electrical inspector position is open, we have to find someone who is qualified. That is not just something that we can put out an application about and be able to just hire. That person has to have experience and or certification, and that is why we've identified someone who is retired and from ADC, and we don't want to lose that person by taking too long to offer and announce the position. She said she was aware of that person, asked why do we think we would lose him? Because if the position's not open, he could get something else. It was further back and forth and contentious, and I just said, look, I'm not going to argue with you about this. If you are not willing to do what you said you were going to do, I'm done. I went downstairs, I talked to HR, and asked her to draft the letter, and came back upstairs. And I tell you all of these details, council, because I think context is important. I was elected to run the day today, and that's what I've been doing. I have to operate in a way that actually does consider the best interest of the city. And I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten, and I know I've been in at least 3 meetings where developers and people who have house flippers or and contractors have told me there needs to be a change in that office, in that director's position. I did not speak ill. I just said a change will be coming, but we are working together to make things better. That's what I said consistently. And that's what I was doing. I think that these and other details are critically important in making this decision. And I don't mind answering any questions, but I will close my remarks by noting a couple of things. We all work together, and we all have to make tough decisions, but I am here in this seat to make the tough decisions every day. And when they are hard decisions that don't feel good, it is not personal. It is for the best interest of the city. We know how important inspection and zoning is to the development that we want to see happen in this city. And I have worked over a year with the previous leadership, and if I cannot trust the word of that leader to operate in good faith, then I have to move on. We cannot continue to kick the can down the road when good faith is not being adhered to. And I think that all of you, I know you have a tough decision to make, and I know that those decisions have been made since when you got here. I will have a tough decision to make after this. If you elect to overturn my decision without appeal, without consideration of anything that has happened in this year, without outreach to me or a conversation, I just would ask you to consider what a bad precedent this would be for future decisions, and understand the position I am in should you decide to overturn my decision without appeal, without anything in writing, without complaint, and without a full conversation with me. I think that it will make that department a divisive environment for the people who have to work there every day and uncomfortable. I think you will put me in a position where now, even though I have the authority to make a termination without cause, and without cause is not contentious, is no room for litigation. Now, people can sue if they want to. We see that all the time. But everyone on this dais knows that a termination without cause is within my authority and does nothing against the person and their work record and reputation. bringing former Director Ruth back into the environment only puts me in a position where if I hold her accountable for any of the things that I've talked about that need to be done, that could easily be seen as retaliation. If she does something that is a fireable offense and I fire her, that would be retaliation. And you would be putting the city in legal jeopardy. And just finally, the case was made the last time we were here to talk about the tax, that I should be allowed to do my job. I have not done anything to harm anyone. I have not violated our code, I have not violated the law, and I have not violated our Constitution. I have made a decision, albeit a hard one, in the best interest of our city, in the best interest of development of this city, and in the best interest of the department. And I ask you to please respect that, as I have respected each one of you in the decisions that you have to make as our city council members for this city. And with that, I close. Thank you.
May I call for the vote?
I think that that would be appropriate if she had an appeal that she had submitted, or even if she had signed up to speak, and neither one of those things happened, so I'm not going to indulge that.
Yeah, I call for the vote.
Well, it's already been moved and seconded. So, Madam Clerk, will you please go ahead and do the roll call?
Councilmember May? Aye. Councilmember Holcomb?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown? Councilmember Brown? Councilmember Brown? Councilmember Lockett? Aye. Councilmember Frazier? Aye. Councilmember Brunson? Aye. Councilmember Denton? Aye. Councilmember Fail?
Aye.
Thank you, council members. With nothing else on the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Sorry. I gotta have it for you for next time.